was if it was a euphemism, we're sunk. You'll do for a chocolate milkshake.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about this Wookie actually being that it's near new moon.
Yeah.
And we're turning up or rocking up to a psychic's house at almost midnight.
Oh, the energy's going to be buzzing.
You know what I mean? It's like very ominous.
What are we? McDonald's, please, show.
We're after actually. What are we after?
Chocolate milkshake.
A chocolate milkshake. Make that three large chocolate milkshakes.
No, he probably thinks we're stoners or something.
I know, it's pretty weird. Some of the things that we do on our road trips, Wookie, I tell you.
Oh, look, you know, it'd get boring, right? You'd get bored if you were riding with anyone else.
Money, we need money.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That's all right, I got some somewhere. How you doing? Can you do it? Yeah, stretched. Just a personal question. We're on our way out to interview a psychic right now. If you were... No, seriously, man. If you were going to interview a psychic, what would you ask them?
I don't know. I just ask them what they think I'm going to ask them, I suppose.
That's a good question.
You say you'd ask them what they thought that you were going to ask them?
Yeah, why did he F it there, Dave?
All right, fair enough. That works. Cheers, man.
Tell us what you think we want to know.
There you go.
Now, I reckon Nikki's the real deal. She was pretty amazing at the ghost hunt.
She's lovely.
Man, the stuff she picked up. Whoa. I'm not sure if it was the ghosts or her ability that sent chills down my spine.
Maybe it was just cold.
It was bloody cold.
It was bloody cold.
That's true.
Suicide Forest, man. It's chilly.
Man, that was freaky. I never knew that about that place.
I didn't know Brisbane had its own suicide forest. Anyway.
Well, pretty picturesque place, I suppose.
In this episode of Spooky Action Radio, the Wookie and I pay a house call to local ambassador for spirit, Nicky Marsten. Nicky will be sharing her gifts as a natural-born psychic, visionary and medium, helping us better understand the nature of spirit and the soul. So sit back, relax and prepare to be spooked right here on Spooky Action Radio.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yep.
And so what are you seeing, Nicky, next to Wookie?
Wow, he's quite a lot taller than you.
Wow, okay.
Like
that's something.
Like how you sit there.
Yeah.
Say that's you, he's like about that.
Oh, okay.
How tall are you, Wookie?
6'4".
He's
Is there a reason?
Do you feel a lot of heat or any tingly down there at all? And do you sometimes instantaneous feel like heat there all of a sudden and then it's gone? Like at different spots?
I feel a certain pressure on my side.
That's okay, that's him because he's raising... It's like being in an elevator and you drop really fast, the pressure goes, and he said, because that's the vibration. We're a fifth dimension, not third. Humans are fifth dimension.
Yeah.
He said, I start at 14.
Oh, is one of them?
He said, yes, I'm one of them. And I also know your friend.
Oh, okay.
He goes, I know several of your friends. He just smiles and he
Philippe's can be freaking out. So
he goes, yes, and I enjoy that. They've been a bit cheeky.
So why did you join us today for this interview?
Do we have a name, Nicky, for the person that's sitting next to Wookie?
Yes, he said, my name is Tolskin.
Oh.
And he said, I'm also one of the gatekeepers of time. He said, I'm also one of the gatekeepers of the universe. He said, I'm not like that. His voice.
I'm getting chills.
He goes, because my voice is changing, because he goes really deep.
Yeah.
He goes, he frowns a little bit. He goes, I'm not in one of those movies. I'm not like those movie characters. I am who I am. And he said, I'm one of a kind. And he said, I am over thousands and thousands of years old. I do not age because I therefore do not have the human chromosome to age as such.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like a Time Lord. It's like Doctor Who.
He said, in a different sense, yes, but I do not travel like he does. it takes him, he said, I can be here in a blink of an eye, but it can affect everyone else around. Like my ears, for example, are going like that, like a real high pitch ringing, and it's because I'm tired. So what Harvey's doing, Harvey's right here and Dean there, Harvey's got his hand on my head to up my vibration quick because I'm tired, and because I need to communicate and see him and talk to him. So Harvey's like, well, come on, you need to, and I had to have my piece of moldavite because my favourite crystal is moldavite. I love it.
I am legitimately feeling like a pressure in my ear, like I've
That's
changed
my moldavite.
altitude.
You sure it's not wax?
He goes, no, it's not, it's me. That's my moldavite.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't put it near the phone. Tolskin.
Tolskin. And why is Tolskin chosen to join us today?
He said, because I find your work interesting of what you do. He said, I find you both, your thinking, he said, it fascinates me. He says like this, because you are both very, very logic, and yet you are an open book. At times a blank book, because you are ready to write. And other times you are a book, he said, like this, full of numbers, full of symbols, full of universal awareness. And he said, and that is a chapter. And he said, then you file it away. He said, I find that fascinating. And he said, I have seen your work sometimes. And because he's been in our presence here, he said, I have turned up because this is actually universal talking at the moment that this is happening. He said, and much of your work is universal talk.
What is universal talk?
Universal talk is like, he said, how do I put it? He said, in earth terms of Chinese whispers, but in a true sense. It's like you tell somebody what you're doing is universally known. Beings, he said, know of your presence and know what you're doing, the work you are doing. He said, look at what you do as universal work because you're talking on our behalf. Even though you're talking to, he goes like this, to humans, they are the voice of us. Not all of them, only some. And those that are true to our word, we turn up. Because we are, he goes like this, he goes, we are wanting to make ourselves known, but through truth and awareness, not fear. And he said, I have turned up because it is interesting and there are a lot of them here. They started probably about an hour and a half ago turning up because they all like to see it. And he said universal talk is just simply how you have a party, you put on Facebook, such and such is having a party, and it goes from 10 people to 700 people, and 500 people rock up.
I was told that this would be interesting for...
Well, Wookie, I told you we'd be bigger than Oprah. Here we are.
He goes, oh, forget Oprah. He said, she's retired. Go to Ellen.
Oh, right.
He goes, that is his sense of humour.
Some people envision like being famous globally, but very few people could really even go like famous like interdimensionally. So.
Well, that's it. He said that's why we speak our truth and why we select only those few that do that. And he said that is why, because he's like this, he goes, we trust what you do.
Right.
He said, we understand when you have your fun, is you're having fun, but you still have your respect of us. Even if you may not understand nor believe, there is boundaries and you reinforce those. And he said, it's like this. And he said, so therefore we help you because you are respectful of us. So we in return help you. He said, we don't mind you having fun because you do it tastefully. You are not having a go at us. He said, because believe us, he said, things would be different if we thought you were mocking us. And you know that you do not.
There you go.
Well, that's we're sort of looking at each other with this understanding, because the whole reason behind Spooky Action is that we're trying to dispel this this fear of the unknown and the unusual in our communities.
That's right.
And we're using lightheartedness and humour as a way of I guess exchanging these ideas and making it less scary for people.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like I did a live Facebook event the other night on my page, because I've got a page as well, and people had this great fear about life, and the first thing I had to talk about was you need to remember not only to get out in nature, but you need to laugh. Everyone gets so bogged down about what's going on. I said, well, open your heart and laugh, like have some rejoice. Don't get so bogged down about how many kids am I going to have, or is my ex going to get karma? Because that's what I get asked a lot. And I understand that's where people are coming from. But on the flip side of it, I'm not here to do that. I'm here on behalf of them. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't care how many kids you're having. That's your destiny, not mine. It's not. I'm not here to say, oh, you're having 2 girls and a boy and you'll have it this and that. That has happened, and I've even spoken to souls that haven't been born. I've had 5 clients and 2 friends that have all had trouble trying to have children, and each one of their child has stood in front of me as a soul and spoken to me and said, I'll be here such and such, and all of them have come.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's one just lately has been born just a few months ago. The latest one, I should say. Yeah.
Right.
So it's about universal connection and awareness. That's what I feel I am. I'm not just a psychic medium. I feel like I am an ambassador for spirit. But I'm not trying to, it's not big noting myself. I don't mean it that way. I'm here because of them, or on behalf of them. And that's why they look at you too, because you're doing the same thing. You're opening everybody's eyes to many different things, not just the same stuff that's out there over and over. It's different.
It's just boring, isn't it, looking at the world that way?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. That's why I always say to people, I'm not your average psychic medium, because I don't, not that many do, but I don't use cards. I hear spirit, but I see them first. I've always been able to see them. That's what I've always had ever since I was little. And I am who I am. You either believe it or you don't. I don't care. It's not my problem if you do or you don't. I'm not here to make you believe, but those that want to, I will help switch on. But it's about, I don't have time for fluff. You're either here or you're not.
This has been really interesting, because while I've been sitting here, I've been thinking of what's the next question to ask, and as I've been thinking it, she's been answering
I know.
it.
Sorry, it's just been coming in my head because Harvey's talking to me and I'm talking to you. It's just what happens.
It seems
I talk a lot.
It seems like she's doing a monologue, but she's actually been answering my questions.
It's actually ridiculous, because we were talking about like these concepts of like with fear.
Yeah.
Was in my head. It's coming out.
Yeah.
Fluff is something that I use because I teach martial arts, and one of the things that we talk about in our school is fluff-free martial arts. And as she was talking, I was thinking of that, and then anyway.
But that's how it is, and it's you know, I mean, like I said, that Saturday night I can talk and talk and talk, but it's on their behalf. It's not me. Like Harvey has his own thing, and Dean talks. I talk on behalf of them, but I know that we don't muck around. As I said, I don't have time. It's like I had a dream a few weeks ago because I hate clowns, and I went and saw the movie It. Well,
as you do when you hate something.
Yeah, my friend took me, and
exactly.
I'm like, yeah, I can do this, and they're all sitting next to me. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. And I'm sitting there like this, and then I'm sitting there going, oh, geez. And then I go, oh, my gosh, and I'm sitting there doing this. And Harvey looks at me, and I go, what? And he goes, nothing, I'm just an Arcturian. But, hey, that's okay. You can be scared of a clown. And I just looked at him, and I said, but yes, I am. It's a demonic clown, and it does all that I can't. And I was like this, and I was absolutely beside myself. And anyway, probably 5 nights later, I had a dream where I was standing here. And at the end of the hallway was a clown, looked dressed like It, and it was going like this. And in the movie, in my dream, I just looked at it and I started walking towards it. And I said, hey. And it looked at me and I said, this is my dream and I'm not scared of you. That was just a movie, so you need to leave now because there's nothing here for you. And it was going, I went like that and I went, bye. And then it went out back through the door, and then I woke up.
You think maybe it was a representation of something else?
I think it was just a manifestation of my fear of clowns. Because I did ask them, because I am because Kimbo gets slammed with everything under the sun. Like, oh my God, I had a dream about this, I had a dream about that. I had this, and then I sit down, and it was a manifestation of my fear, because it wasn't, because the first thing I asked them is, did I just have a dream about a demon? Was that something? And And Dean just looked at me like, seriously? He said, I'm a Syrian and your bodyguard. He said, do you think anything that low is going to get anywhere near you?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I just needed to ask. He says that. He goes, all right, I'll forgive you for that because that's the human side of you.
Mm.
And I said, well, true. And that's all right, Juno. And I said, well, no, actually, no. And he said, no, and you actually, do you realise what you did? He said, you overcome it and you told it to get lost. You went bye-bye. You actually walked towards it and said, see you later. And I said, true. And what did it do? And I said, it disappeared. And he said, did you have any fear in the dream? And I said, no, I didn't, which I was surprised. I thought I'd be terrified and I wasn't. And because there's nothing, because people ask me all the time with so many readings that I do and having so many people in the house, do you ever get stuff left over? And I go, never. Because we do smudge, but I know that all these guardians, I don't ever take protection for granted though. I don't just assume, oh, that Michael's there and then I can just call him and Michael can do this. I don't ever assume it. I always ask out of respect. But I also know that it's taken care of. I don't ever question spirit. I don't need to. I just know that they know what they're doing. They wouldn't be here otherwise.
So can you tell me a little bit more about Dean and Harvey? You spoke
sure.
about it up at the hunt the other night.
Yeah.
And it was really fascinating. So just for our listeners that you know.
Yeah, sure. Dean...
And it was fascinating how you told me about how Dean came to be Dean. And
yes.
how...
Well, Dean... Yes, Toscan. You can... Yep, not a problem. Sorry, he just said... He just said, oh, I'm still staying here, all right? Yes, we understand. He just wanted acknowledgement. It's all good. Dean.
Did you bring a K2?
Of course I did.
Dean.
Can you tell
Cool.
Tolskin, you can play with the K2 if you can make it light up, that'd be awesome.
He just cocked his eyebrow and he goes, really?
Yes, please do.
He just looked at it like as if it's all right.
It's filthy primitive human technology. You know.
Can you hear something?
I heard a cat.
That's a cat there, but there. He said, did you just hear that noise?
Yeah, I can hear something on my headphones.
What is it?
It's like a...
It's like
Like a buzzing.
Yeah, it's like it's the humming buzz. It's
Yes,
the humming.
yeah.
That's what it is.
I can
It's
hear it in
him.
my
That's his
headphones.
energy. Because he just went.
I'm starting to get.
He
a
just went like
high-pitched
this,
sort of-
like that, and he said, "That's your human ears." He said, "I do not need a machine."
Ah.
He said, "I'd rather you hear it physically
Yeah.
and hear it
And
both."
and then it's just stopped.
Yeah, because he stopped.
Oh, freaky!
But he said, "Do you see what I mean?"
Okay.
I hope it gets recorded.
Hey, is it too late to back out of this interview, Wookie?
No, man.
No, you're not leaving now.
We're ass deep in it now, man.
Yes.
We're just gonna. We're talking about Dean and Harvey.
Yes. Dean. Dean's about 8,000 years old on a if you want an age wise. The first time how I met him was actually I was in a meditation group and we were sitting around and everyone was quiet and we had our eyes closed meditating and I kept getting this tap on my head, and at the time I had a guardian called Jay, and then I opened my eyes to go, oh my gosh, what? And I looked over in the kitchen and there were Sam and Dean standing there. And I looked at them. They looked shimmery. They looked different. And then they just went like that. And he became Sam and he became Dean. They knew at that stage, the TV show Supernatural had just started. And which I love that show. And the character Dean Winchester's an actor, Jensen Ackles. But that was my favourite TV show. So for me to focus and do what I do, Dean looks like that. Is it not working?
No, I just because
Is it going all wonky?
No, it's fine. It's just crystal clear now. But before, this has never happened on the Zoom.
Would
'Cause he's
Tolkien be willing to do like a to make it happen again?
It was just so. But it's it's crystal clear now. But anyway, no, sorry, I didn't.
No,
want
that's
I
all right.
didn't-
He's just moved. That's why. He's over there and Dean's next to you. That's why the energy is shifted, because Tolkien's out of the range.
Okay.
And now, can you feel anything behind you?
I can sort of like, yeah.
Because Tolkien's just standing there. He's not touching you. He's just standing there.
No, there's this.
Where's Tolkien from? What does he identify
said,
himself as?
He looks at you and he said, I am all. I am neither. I'm not just. He said, I am everything. I am Syrian, I am Palladian, I am from Kalino.
He's been all over the place.
He said, I am Arcturian, I am hybrid, I am
what
angelic.
What was his earliest?
My earliest, I've never been on your planet.
No, but I mean...
But he said my earliest memory for me, he said 34,000 years ago. He said, I have been with some of the greats, not many. He loves people like Socrates, which I think we've mentioned before, because they have logic and they have an understanding. And he likes that. He enjoys that. He enjoys a good conversation. And he talks...
So do we.
He said, yes, because it's stimulation. He said it is of interest. He said it is interesting. He said, I like those that are open to listen. He said, yeah. No, when you do that, makes my throat
you know,
funny.
he just put us in the same boat as Socrates, right?
He said, yes, I do. He said,
I just got this like a
pulsating heat kind of thing down there.
Well, it's more for me.
Like that. Like a...
Yeah.
Because he's just right there, that's all.
It's more cold for me.
Oh, yeah, he's not hot. He makes me hot, but then this here...
I'm cold here, warm here. Does that make sense?
Yep, because he's where Dean can make, like when I do platform work and they're
I'm
around and Harvey, I
little
get
bit
hot.
To the left.
Yep.
No offense, dude.
Well, he's probably sucking the heat out of the air. So
He said, none taken. He said, I don't feel your heat because I'm not earthbound. I never have been. Yes, hang on. Dean said, yep. Dean looked at you and he goes, to answer your question, he said, I'm a Syrian. He said, in my dreams, when he comes to me, if it's in a car, it's a black Chevy Impala. But most of the time, Dean comes to me with his mobile and he'll do this. Like, he'll go like that, and which is meaning I've got messages and I'm not listening. He
so
needs
he's
to
tapping
talk to
on
me.
the mobile and showing you the
because
mobile
it's communication.
Face, yeah.
I can be talking to friends in particular, and he will, Harvey will stay inside. If I see a friend of mine in particular go home, and we'll talk maybe half hour outside before she goes, or Dean walks up and down the street, or Dean will sit not right up and down. He just walks and he'll walk around, because what he does is a perimeter check. That's what he says. I said, where are you going? He said, perimeter check.
What does that
mean?
And
he'll walk around. He walks around outside and he makes sure all the perimeters are done. He said, now he's there. He goes, I'm a cross between... He said, I'm a bodyguard. I'm like a Navy SEAL, but... you're good on you. And he said, and a hunter.
Typical Syrian.
He said, yeah. He doesn't talk very much. You don't get a lot out of him, only when he needs to.
Strong and silent type.
Well, he said, I just don't... He said, I don't have a problem with humans. He said, I know, meaning me, he said, I know these two very well, but he said, I know her for a long, long time. He said, that's why I'm her bodyguard, otherwise I don't bother. Because the human race, he frowned and he goes, most of you dudes are good, but the human race has so much to learn about. He said, I'm not going to go world peace and humanity, because that's not what it's about. It's about taking care of yourselves and each other and love. He said, again, I'm not into fluff and soft stuff. No. He said, that's not me. He said, what you see is what you get, and I don't have time for anything else. And he said, I'm a hunter. That's just how it goes. He said, I'm a bodyguard.
What's he hunt?
He goes, I have assignments. He goes, occasionally. He goes, I kind of work a lot with Michael. Yeah, I know. He said, no, I'm no warrior and I don't have wings. No. He said, I'm a protector. I'm a bodyguard. I'm a human guard. And he looked at you and he goes, I'm a soul guardian. And he said, I protect not only her physicalness but her soul. So when I, when they talk about astral travel, I won't go with Harvey. Harvey stays behind. Dean is the one that will take me. I'll have dreams where I'll be somewhere and I'm talking to a friend looking for something, and Dean will walk in right up to me and goes, "We're going," and he'll grab me, and as soon as he touches me, I'll wake up. Or he'll walk in front of me and I go, "Dean," and he'll do that to get my attention because I'm out somewhere. But he's the one that takes me. He said, he said, "I know it's a TV show, but I have the same knowledge, except a lot more extensively, like hunters." He said, "But not like a TV show." He said, I don't hunt things like demons or vampires or that kind of thing. But he said, "I'm very, very aware of how the universal shift happens. You have your planet, and it's like a human. When you sneeze a lot, you get a cold or you get hay fever." He said, "When the earth sneezes, that disrupts everything." And he said, "I'm aware of things like that. I don't re-plug in or realign ley lines, although I have done that in the past." But he said, as a Syrian, he said, "I'm part of a larger group of, I don't know," he said, "a committee, a council that help make sure universally everything is happening on its time." It's funny though, he said, when a person passes away, he said, time does not exist. But universally, time does exist for the planet, because your planet has a certain time limit. He's like this going, no, I'm not going into the planet destroying and all of that kind of stuff. That's not what I mean. He said, "I just have..." Oh, one of the girls are stuck. Sorry, it's my cat.
We're having feline issues, sorry.
Yes, so they're all just, plugged in as well. But he's just... he goes like this. He goes, I just simply make sure that spirit back off when they're supposed to. He said, "That's what I hunt." He said, "I'm a protector. It's more of a bodyguard. He said, "I just..." Like when we went to our tour the other night, the hunt, even though everyone's got their own guardians, he will make sure everything's okay. And as we were walking down, he said, "I really don't want you being here." I said, no, I'll be fine. He goes, "No, actually, you're not going to be." And I said, no, I'll be fine. It's okay. He said, "All right, just..." But he said, what was that? Oh. He said, "But you need to listen to me when I tell you to run." And he laughed, and I go, "What?" And he goes, "I'm kidding, I'm just stirring you." He said, "I don't mean to run." But he said, "If I tell you I don't want you going somewhere, then you got to listen to me, because I have a habit of not, and I'll go and do what I want to do when I shouldn't. Not that I get into trouble, but..."
When we were there the other night, that little machine that I had,
yes,
when we walked into that gully, it said run 3 times.
Yeah, well, literally, when I put my foot, my right foot, when I touched it, I've never, ever been on an investigation or a hunt or anything ever had a physical reaction like that ever. I don't ever have them. Yeah. I mean, the fact that can I say drive reach? Well, I just I have.
No, tell whatever you
I've
like.
never drive reached, but I wasn't feeling sick. I wasn't feeling anything except breathing issues, like somebody like that. I could not breathe, and I was like that, and then literally did that, and I thought, this is ridiculous. So, okay, I'll sit down, I'll step back, and I think I was standing near Donna. And I went like that, and I did it again. But the fact that it happened 3 times, and then every time I stepped back, it didn't. And I thought, and then I had to sit down, and the shakes, like I said, I had the shakes. Like I was absolutely ice cold, and I was sweating to death.
Wow.
And just the whole thing, and the fact I could barely walk, and I was disorientated, and I kept stopping Donna, going, "Where are we? Don't we go down here?" She goes, "No, up here. We've got to go up here." And I said, "Oh, we're nearly there yet?" And I was it felt just like horrific. I've never experienced it. And then the fact that my car was only there, and they walked me to my car, but I was in a state, I can't explain it. I just had to get in my car and get out of there. And it was the weirdest thing. And then I was at Albany Creek before I realised where I was, and then before I got home.
I'd like to talk about, now, when you were talking to, was it Dean?
Yes.
Yes, Dean, the Syrian.
Yes.
And he talks about being a hunter. I just want to say 2 things. We've got to think of hunter not in the anthropomorphic sense, as in from a human perspective. See, when we think of hunter, we think of man who goes out to kill for food. But if you're a people who say don't eat meat, a hunter is a person who protects the tribe or the people by going out and attacking things that might attack the people. Is that an accurate way of saying hunter? Or
It's okay. He's just very aware of what he says. He said, he goes, yes, you're right.
Okay.
He said, I do not want your listeners to think that I'm crazy or that he's a nut or that he said, that's not what it's all about. He said, I am a protector in the sense of physical as well. Little things like I've been at the old train station at Petrie and told, no, don't go that way. I said, yeah, but my car's here. But I want you to walk around and go back that way. I get in there and driving down, and he said, lock the door quick. Got it? And I said, okay, lock it, and I'm driving and waiting to turn, and a dude that was high on drugs came on the other side and was smashing, trying to bang on my window and open the door, but I'd locked it. So there's a protector. That was ages ago. I remember that when I came home. So there's that on the sense of the physical. And when he said, you see, for me, he said, I don't ever show her, she doesn't ever go anywhere where it's bad, dark or dangerous. He said, I don't do that. He said, I'm a high vibrational being and I don't have time for fluff. He said, I'm a hunter, yes, incorrect in the sense of protection, yes. We said, that's right.
Okay.
He said, I am a Syrian, but he said, but then like we've got a golf course across the road. He said, well, we don't have spaceships dropping by over there and I hang out with my family. He said, that doesn't happen. If I need to talk to my family, I just talk to them where I am. He just communicates like that in a flash. He said, it's just thought, boom, done. He says, but that is the truth, yes. He said he was just a bit aware because he doesn't want your listeners to thinking... He said, but they're going to think whatever they're going to think anyway. So he says, that's okay. But
as long as they think.
As long as they think.
he said, well,
yeah.
that's it. You know, he
As
said,
long
this
as they
isn't...
think.
He goes, I'm not here to scare people, but he said, he said, I'm also not poppycocking around. That's how he words a lot of stuff. He says, I don't have time for that. I don't believe if people want to know the truth, that's it. And that's how it goes.
So when you communicate with him or Harvey, are you hearing a voice or are you interpreting a thought?
Voice.
It is a voice.
Yep.
So you're hearing it like it's like somebody's speaking to you, like I'm speaking to you now.
Yep.
Wow. And do you
That's
hear
why
that in the middle of your head, or do you hear it like you're hearing it with your ears?
Yeah.
With your ears.
That's why I often have to get, and I'm going to sound weird again to everybody, ear canneling a lot, because a lot of the time I speak is when I'm doing things, it's a lot of time it's the left-hand side. It is both, but there'll be times where it's so blocked that I have to get 2 ear cannelings done because I can't hear anything. I'm not deaf, but it's so blocked. It's like, oh my gosh, don't get ear infections, but almost.
Wow.
Because it just blocks up. And yet when people tell me their name, like spirit will say a name, they'll write it in the air. Like it can be James, and I'll see James appear like that, and they'll do the S and everything. But that's why I have a thing when I see movies that spook me. It's like the Winchester movie. That when the soldier at the end of that movie talked the way it does, that voice, I can't stand things that are freaky like that because it scares me, because I hear voices. I don't ever hear that, but he doesn't sound like he's talking down some tunnel or funnel. He just talks like you guys. And see, I see him because they also know that if I didn't and I just heard them, that's a disembodied voice, and that it'd scare the hell out of me.
Oh, okay. So they make sure that they're
right.
visible.
Yep. I know it's a lot to kind of take in and do that, but that's how I've always been like.
I'm taking it in, but I'm trying to process it and sort of put it in the framework.
That's why I always say to
understand
people, I'm not your average psychic medium. Those that I've even worked with, and even people like, can I say names?
Sure, why not?
Say whatever you like.
I don't mean to name drop. I mean, I'm just saying when I've done courses and workshops, etc., with people like Lisa Williams, they've helped me. She has helped me understand it and work and fine tune it. You know, because when we've got exercises and somebody stepped forward of hers and I went, oh, she's here. This is what she's looking like and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know, she just said, yes, it's exactly right. And she looked at her and she said, geez, okay, yes. And that's how I see them. And that's why I always get movies freak me out if like Dean knows, when they come, it's footsteps. Because for what I do, I get jumpy easily. But it's, you know, but that's how I work. That's how I see them. Like when I do my readings, they will come through the door or they'll bang on the door. People have heard the door, bang. When we've had meditation groups or teaching or courses or messages here, we move the table and have a whole group of people. People have actually heard them because they'll come in that door and I'm in the front talking. I look down the door and people have heard them walk down the hallway and they've seen them come down right down the middle, and people have felt them. Even skeptics have had touches and everything, because I say, oh, did you just feel, I said, oh, you, and I'll say such and such. I said, just stop for a minute because I have such and such here. I said, you called on Michael, you wanted him to be here, you asked him to, you were testing him and said, be here today. And she goes, yes. And I said, okay, he's about to touch you. And she goes, oh yeah. And then he went like that on her head and she freaked because she felt the heat on her head and went red and sweaty because she felt his actual hand. And it's not, this isn't like parlour tricks or miracle stuff. It's not anything like that. It's just my life. It has always been that way. Ever since I was little, that's why I had a lot of fear when I was little, because I'd wake up and see them right in front of me and they'd be talking. They'd go, Nick, like that all the time, and that would scare me. I used to have night lights on all the time. Oh, I don't know how many times, because of the things. That's how I saw them, and yeah, it scared me a lot of the times when I was younger. But that's, yeah, sorry to answer your question. I've gone off track again. Harvey's just reminded me. Sorry, but that's what I do.
No, that's really amazing. I'm still sitting here trying to process it.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm unusually quiet for an interview as well.
Sorry, as I said, I talk a lot too. But that's them when they start. When I'm in the zone, they just talk lots.
Wow. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of how this works. You know, that's like, I'm always thinking in the background when people are explaining what they're experiencing. I think,
but it's your soul, remember, too.
For me, I think the big problem that we have in this modern day and age is when somebody says something that doesn't make any sense, their natural response is to go, well, obviously the person's is imagining stuff. But instead what we should be thinking is, several other people have said that they've sensed the same thing. Let's try and figure out what it is they're sensing and how it works, as opposed to just writing it off as imagination.
And I've had tests too when I was younger. I've had counselling sessions, and because I've had it all my life, so I would tell my parents, this is what I saw, or this is what I heard. And I had parents and relatives and people that it didn't go down very well, coming from a Catholic background, that this is not normal behaviour.
Did anybody come at you with a cross and a bottle of holy water?
Tried to put me in psych ward.
Yeah.
Grandmother, tried to do that.
Terrible.
And took me out when I was 10 and tried to have me locked away and said something's wrong with my granddaughter. She's not normal. I think she's just possessed, and
I think most
or
teenage
mental health
girls
issues.
are possessed. Just
she thought I had severe mental health issues.
Yeah.
You just don't do that kind of stuff. And I said, well, my mum, and being adopted didn't help. And my mum, who's very logic and very earthy, just sort of said, well, you're not going to touch my daughter. You say the way, leave my daughter alone. And my dad, whose name is Michael, she's named him after Archangel Michael. But my mother would say, well, you've named it. And she said, yes, but that's named out of the Bible. And my mother would say, yes, and? There's nothing wrong with my child. And she said, yes, there is. But all kinds of tests and all sorts of things. I wish people like Chip Coffey, who's an American psychic, works with kids that have it. I wish somebody like that was around when I was younger. because that would have helped a lot of my fear. But I trust them and had them as teachers, and then when the time was right, they sent me to a teacher who then introduced me to Tracy, who met Kimbo because that's her sister, and that's how it all kind of just connected.
But every generation, I think it's getting easier and easier as the people who came
absolutely,
before
because
them.
these ones that are being born now are massively old souls because they're bringing all kinds of things, not just light. It's about knowledge. That's what they're bringing down. It's how do I word it? It's like we watched that show today called Dominions, and just thought that was freaky. Still good. That's just normal as well, though. But it's.
Was that one of the animals?
That was one of the cats, but the pop bang before was in the kitchen, wasn't. But it's. I can't explain it. It is what it is. It's just my life. It's just how it's always been. I've always seen them, and that's what I used to freak out my sister. I'd get into bed. I was 7 years old when I first met my first Palladian, standing at the doorway, because I could hear him coming down the hallway, and I shot out, went round, hopped into her bed, and I had the sheets and the doona, and she was facing that way, and I was like that. And I remember standing there watching because I could hear it, and I bang, and it just stood at the doorway, didn't step forward, and I remember going, "What are you?" And I heard, "I'm not here to harm you, child, I'm a Palladian." And my sister woke up and goes, "What's going on?" I said, "There's a Palladian at your door." And she was like half asleep. She just go, "Well, tell her to go away and come to bed." Like she didn't understand. She remembers a lot of stuff because I used to go to her a lot when I was terrified with things. So my family have grown up with me having experienced a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So, you can tell a lot about me and Sifu. Would you care to tell something about to Sifu about his soul, so to speak?
Well, first of all, Harvey said, "What would you like to know?"
I don't really think I want to know anything, to be
He
honest.
said, that's what he just asked. He said, "Oh, it's you're both very it's funny your connection." He said you're both very connected, and yet you can be both very different. But that's what makes you balance. That's why you balance, because it's like night and day, or winter and summer.
I think it's funny, the first... We were in Macca's drive-thru on the way here, Nicky, because getting you guys your shakes.
Yeah.
And we had the recorder on, and we came up to the drive-thru, and we asked the young man there as he took our order, he said, "Oh, look, we're on our way to interview a psychic. What would you like to ask her?" And what did he say, Wookie?
He goes, "Well, I'd get her to tell me what I was going to ask because she's psychic."
Yeah. He says, like, "Well, you tell me what I need to know." But the thing is, Nicky, really, I
get offended when people say stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
not a fortune teller. It's like,
I sort of...
trick.
I was thinking, well, you wouldn't be going to see a psychic then, would you?
No, because you wouldn't need to.
See, for me, at this stage of life, you're sort of comfortable in your own skin, and you don't really...
You want to know, Philippe?
No, but the thing is, I don't really. I just sort of... I'm just happy...
Or are you afraid?
It's like the new Avengers movie, right?
Yeah.
And don't say anything if you've seen it, guys.
No, I haven't yet.
There's been a few spoilers online where people... Apparently, the ending is just unbelievable as the whole movie.
I don't want to know.
But neither do I,
No,
Nicky.
because I haven't seen it yet.
And that's right. So I'm going with my daughter tomorrow. We're having a dad-daughter day, and we're going to go and see it. And it's like for me is somebody telling you the ending or an integral plot piece. I'd rather work that shit out for myself.
Well, same here. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and sure that, it's not like some
But
sort
it's the
of...
same with me. People must say to me all the time, "Oh, geez, you're lucky. You must know about every single thing that's going to happen. You can just ask them." I said, "No, it doesn't work. It does not work like that. It's opposite, if anything."
If anything... It's jumpy as all shit here.
Yeah. She's just very aware of spirits. Let's go, Baba girl. She's just very aware.
This it's funny. Like my whole life as well, in terms of sensing different things around me, I sort of feel like a bit of a tug of war going on around me personally all the time.
Because he
And
said
it's
that's why.
it's unsettling.
Did you see just for a moment why she jumped up there? Because she knows Dean's there.
Oh,
She
okay.
doesn't understand. She doesn't know who Dean is, but she sees him. Instead of just walking through, what she always does, she jumped up that way. But she, out of all of them, is the one that's always seen spirit. Always. But he says in a tug of war of belonging, or a tug of war of wanting, or of knowing who you are.
No, so that
said that's the
again.
thing.
She's hit the nail on the head in terms
Because-
of belonging.
He
We
said
had this
because you don't know
conversation.
who.
We did.
He said you know who you are. He said sorry, this is Harvey. He goes, and he's standing right there, and he said, and you just went like that on your chest. He goes, you know who you are in this lifetime as a label. He said, and it's seafood. He goes, no, not seafood. He said he was just stirring you. He said, I look at you not just as a soul, and I don't just look at you as light. He said, I look at you as a man who's experienced a lot of things, and you've come into this world with a very gentle, open heart. It's quite powerful, but that's had it a lot. You've had your heart literally gone and flung. And I don't know if you have, but this is what he's saying. And he said, but the best thing about it is that you've still remained true to yourself about love. You haven't allowed love to make you angry or put you in a cold place, so to speak. He said, it's not been easy. And he says, you take you and your daughter. He said, you just have to look at her eyes the day she arrived. When you first held her, he said, you looked at her. He said, you knew instantly, you knew who she was. She wasn't just labelled as your daughter. He said, she's been with you other lifetimes and she simply came back because she chose you to be her dad. It's like me with my mum and dad and my sister. I'm adopted, but that family that I have my family, I've had them before. I don't look anything like them. They're all tall, both sides. And my dad, like olivey skin, brown-eyed. Like I'm 5 foot nothing. I had blonde hair and I'm bluey grey-eyed. I look nothing like them, and yet so many people say you're just like your father, you know. And it's not just mannerisms, but people say, "Oh, you got your father's nose," and I think, how? But you know, that's what it is. But he said, you're here because he said you want to help people. You want to help people understand. But to do that, you're trying to understand who you are so you can help understand others on their path to help them get to where they want to get to. But he said you meet all these people along the way because you take a little bit of something from those people and you put it together. And it's not you take what you need, it's whatever they give you, if they give you something. He said you acknowledge it with honour and respect and you take it. He said otherwise, others that don't, you go, okay, that was a job. Okay, I did an interview that time. That was a bit of a dud, or I thought it would go this way, but it went that way. All those kinds of things, because for the two of you, he said, you often have in here, oh, this is the way I want it to go, and you start to do it that way, and then suddenly it'll go that way. Or sometimes it just goes...
Yeah, we've given up on planning. We
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah, 'cause
just,
you
we
said
just
you
make
can't.
this more organic now and
You
just
can't,
have a conversation with
the
people.
universe has
because-
got bigger plans, and they'll put you and send you, push you where you're supposed to go, and to who you're meant to go with, and you to sift out. He said in some aspects you're a bit like truth seekers. You're cross between Mulder and Scully. You know, you have that.
I think I'd look better in a dress though than you
As a
would.
redhead.
Wookie.
Let's not go there. He
You'd
said,
be all right
please.
with a red wig, mate.
He goes, let's not go there.
Okay.
But he says for yourself, you have had that all that time, a sense of where belonging. He said, whereas with your daughter, you make sure she always knows, I love you, and that's what it is. I'm your dad, and that's it. There's no question. She doesn't have any doubt. Well, it's my dad. My dad's like my best friend. You are very much like that. I mean, I don't know if you are. This is what he's saying. And you have a friendship. You're not just father and daughter. You're best buddies. And you've had to learn a lot about communication, though, and trusting to being okay to be who you are, because people have stomped on it before. And that's then stuffed you around going, oh, I don't even know who I am, let alone where I belong. I don't even know why I'm here. And whereas now you have a purpose, and that purpose is helping others find their truth or an understanding, you know, or finding out for you, you could have been seeking something yourself or anything. You just think, oh, I've just learnt something tonight. This is what I've learned, or today, or that, or something. And you just think, oh, that makes sense. That's just helped me today. Or he said, whatever you need. And it's helped you ground yourself as who you are. And he says, that's who you are. He said, you're a little bit more a cross between a warrior and a healer, because you can protect those that are close to you, but you're also there to help. He said, you're there to help, but you're more of a teacher. You're a professor. You're in a different league. He said, none is better than the other. You are both equal, because you wouldn't match otherwise, and you would not make it work if it didn't. And he said, it's not to prove the existence of this or that. He goes, there's enough of those around on the human level that can do that. He said, I'm here. He said, I'm Harvey because that's what I'm meant to be. And he said, you do what you do because that's what you're meant to do. And he said, you will go out throughout. He said, you can go as far as you want it to go. You can take this wherever you want it to go. It's up to you. But he says, you've learnt, though, that you'll never let anybody ever turn your light off again, though. And he doesn't just mean talking about, oh, my ears. Tolskin must be coming back. Sorry, my ears just went boom. He said, it's not just about your heart in a sense. It's more of in your past. He said, you've had some people burn you pretty badly. And he said it shifted your perception of people, and you stood back and you went and saw the bigger picture, but for yourself. Instead of going right in the middle, you stood back and said, rightio, well, this has got to change, because I'm not going to keep doing this anymore, and I've got to really be aware of what I want and where I want to go and why. And I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
I reckon that's a pretty fair judgment.
Well, this is Harvey, as I said. It's not me. That's just him talking.
Oh, yeah.
But he just says, but you're on the, there's no wrong path. There's no wrong decisions. And he said the thing that they don't like the most, or hate the most, is, oh, that was such a tragic because that person was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He goes, nobody's ever in the wrong place at the wrong time. Everything is synchronicity. It's universally, divinely timed. He said, without fail.
And thus we find ourselves doing this right now at this time.
But even you two, how you two. He said your connections and how you decided this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do. I think we should do this. I think it's a great idea, and you've gelled it and melded over time. You've built it up. You've created it. You've nurtured it. You've watered it. You've fertilized it. You've watched it grow, and you, as I said before, you've gone this direction, and then sometimes you think, oh, I think we need to go back here. But sometimes and it's got nothing to do with body language. If you two know that an interview is going off track or is going off a bit wacko or whatever, all you need to do is one of you just look at each other and kind of, that's like your silent language of or we need to pull this back or do something, or what do we do now, or something. You just know because you bounce off one another without even having to talk. And I don't know if that makes sense either, but anyway.
No, I think it does.
Well, you just know.
So what do you reckon, Sifu? Was that a accurate assessment? You know yourself better than anybody else does.
That's right.
Oh, it's
Was it spooky?
Yeah, it's spooky.
Yeah.
It's spot on.
I got to tell you.
I mean,
Very
really, if
spot
it
on.
isn't, don't you just tell me.
No.
Wookie
I'm watching
knows.
Sifu right now. His eyes are welling up. There's a lot of
pretty
emotion.
rattled. So
Yeah.
Your heart. You can speak.
say hello. Come on.
Hello.
That's Kimbo, everyone. It's my housemate.
When you were talking to him, I felt so like shaky and nervous and like
You were jittery.
anxious. Were you like that when she was talking to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm sitting here thinking I better get up in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
Now,
it
can
too.
you feel that? Harvey sitting there, heat. Like heat. Because I'm absolutely boiling, whereas I was cold before in Tolscombe. But anyway, yeah.
It's
cool.
It's funny, what Nicky's saying about the course of these interviews, and every time we do something like this,
the interviews have a personality of their own.
Oh yeah.
And it really connects with you differently. Like this is a lot more, I don't know, it's a little bit more, or a lot more reflective, introspective. Like and apologies to the listeners here for me being really quiet for, like, I don't know, when does that ever bloody happen? But I'm spending a lot of time just mulling over.
Processing it.
And just processing some of the things I'm feeling just standing here. It's amazing.
Well,
I took my headphones off because it was weird, so that shit just freaked me out. I took them off. I can't wait to go back onto the computer I'm
going to put the headphones on. Just
I wonder what Nads would make of that when I when I play it back to her from Paranormal Project.
Yep.
Oh man.
No, they're a great team. I just love them. I've only been with them since August.
You know that it's funny that you say that because we just came across them. We thought, what an interesting mob of people to do an interview up, and we hit it off straight away. Like when we had that interview, we just went.
Yep.
It's sort of like you find your tribe.
Well,
it's
see,
bizarre.
that's the thing. A friend of mine was on their page. I didn't even know anything about them, and saw the ad, the call out for psychics. And my friend Sandy jokingly said, "I think you should do that." I said, "No, I can't do that. I'm not a Ghostbuster." She said, "Oh, yes, you are. You know you're going to." So go on, do it. And I thought, oh, all right. I thought, okay, why not? And they got quite a few, but we had to go through all his testing.
Yeah, Tabby was telling me about
and had to do all of that. And I thought, okay, well, it took me 3 days. And I said, oh, okay, what I'm sitting in front of a blank screen. I said, I just looked at Harvey and I go, what? And he goes, what? I go, what? I don't know what to say. And he goes, oh, he puts his head and he goes, you ready? And I went, okay. And I said, all bang, 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 little stuff, and sent it off. And I thought, oh, I have no idea. And that was right. And then I had to speak to Michelle, and I said, Michelle, I don't know what you're doing, but I said, every time I keep talking to you, I keep seeing these boxes everywhere, and books, so many books, and a laptop and typing, and I keep hearing, like, I don't know, like magazines and editor and journalism and newsreader. And she said, are you serious? And I went, yes, I'm serious, yes. Why? She said, while I'm talking to you, I'm packing boxes, and I'm packing books in a box because we're moving, and I'm a journalist. I went, oh.
Well, that would account for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Well, there you go. Right. Tabitha was right. Okay. And I said, pardon? Nothing, she said. And anyway, so then I had to wait. I didn't know whether or not it was like a call out or what happens in this scenario. And then they said, yep, we want you to come on board. Can you come to an investigation in 3 nights' time? And I went, okay, yep, why not? And I went, and and they were even amazed. I was, how I just slotted in like I knew them, like they were just my family. And Tabitha calls me the Paranormal Project cheerleader because I'm the one that's always going on about, oh my gosh, we've got to do this, we can do that. And but it was like as if I'd been there forever, and I've been with them ever since, and it's been the best thing ever. It's great in so many ways because I'm studying paranormal science, my PhD in paranormal science,
wow.
because I love witchy stuff too. But
what were we doing on the way? We were talking about this on the way because we're thinking it's almost full moon, and we're thinking,
well, it is a full moon in Scorpio, and I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio, so am I.
Yeah, when's yours birthday?
The 6th of November.
I'm the 19th.
Although if you check my Facebook page, my birthday is April the 1st.
Guys. Yeah, no, I'm the 19th, yeah. See, us Scorps, we're brilliant. We're amazing.
Because we were saying it, Wookie and I were saying in the car on the way here, I get a really witchy vibe.
Yeah, because I do, I love it.
And then we're going, I don't know. And then what was your theory about witches?
Sifu was like, is she a witch? And I'm like,
I'm studying with sacred mists, which are big international.
What a witch is, and we can answer that, you know. I'm
studying with them, which is about 5 to 8 years. And I'm just doing my first degree with them. So there's that witchy side of it. But then, as I said, I've got my PhD in paranormal science because I love the paranormal and I want to understand it on a logic sense and metaphysical, but logic. I do not believe when people tell me, can you come to my house, it's haunted. I often go, oh, is it? I've had people and they go, yeah, and I go, what with? Oh, well, ghosts. And I went, well, what do you mean ghosts? What kind? Who? What? I don't know. I said, well, then how do you know it's haunted? To me, it's not logic. I'm the Scorpion in me is very black or white. and I'm not very. We kind of got to. I'm a bit of a skeptic myself, which is I know sounds weird, but I don't. Just somebody says something to me and I go, rightio, okay, but I don't automatically believe it because it's, excuse my language, a lot of crap too, you know. So, but yeah, I do love, like I love Merlin. I've got a big thing of Merlin and a big connection. It's all right, Barbie girl.
I've got two questions.
Yes.
Number one,
yes.
Where does one do a PhD in paranormal science? Is it,
what's it called? International Metaphysics University or something. It's online, but it's face to face. Like you see them, you've got tutors, you've got a professor. It's worldwide, and it's the paranormal analogy of paranormal science, and it's a PhD, masters and PhD.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So once you get that, you'll be Dr. Nicky.
I will be.
Yeah.
Dr. Spook.
Doctor.
It's my nickname is Spook or Joss,
Not Dr.
depending on who
Spock,
talks
Dr.
to me.
Spook.
I was actually looking like my kids are getting a bit older. I was thinking about maybe going back to university and doing like some further study. But like I was thinking, what could I study? And I'm thinking,
well, at Griffith University
accounting
here in Australia, in Queensland, Griffith University. Well, I don't know if they still do. They did 2 years ago. Have a paranormal course.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's not. I want to do big stuff. If
You
you're gonna,
did it, and then they stopped doing it after that.
No, well, I inquired about it, and then she goes, "No, I don't think we're doing it anymore. I don't know." And I went, "Oh," but no, I want to teach. That's the other thing I want to do too. Is teach. I want to switch people on.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't mean by teaching them to be a psychic or medium. I want to teach people about awareness to spirit and understand universal things. I want to do different. I like different things. I don't want to do your average everyday stuff. It bores me, and I don't want to teach average everyday stuff. I mean, that's a crystal and it's a moldavite, and I love it because it's my favourite crystal because it's its connection to them and all that is, and I love it. But it's a crystal, whereas I want to be able to walk up to